Hi, now we're going to look at the process of double fertilization in the formation of seed. So before this, kita dah tengok formation of pollen grain, iaitu dalam pollen grain ada male gamete. Kita dah tengok formation of the embryo sac, di mana dalam embryo sac ada female gamete. So double fertilization, first you need to know the definition, where it is the union ataupun the fusion of two male gamete with different nuclei of the embryo sac, whereby one male gamete akan fuse with the egg forming diploid zygote and the other male gamete will fuse with two polar nuclei to form triploid endosperm. So if the question asks you to define double fertilization, you must state all these points. So apa itu triploid endosperm? Endosperm adalah tisu yang akan supply the nutrient kepada embryo di dalam pembentukan seed nanti. So proses double fertilization ini bermula daripada when the pollen grain landed pada stigma. So these are all the process that occurred inside the ovule of a female reproductive structure. So now we're going to look at step by step what will happen of the double fertilization process. So the first process is after the pollen grain landing on the stigma, it will absorb the moisture and germinate. So kita tahu dekat dalam pollen grain ada dua jenis sel, iaitu tube cell and generative cell. Dekat dalam tube cell akan ada tube nucleus. So the tube nucleus will produce the pollen tube that extend down the style towards the ovary. So inilah dia akan membentuk pollen tube. So this pollen tube akan bergerak sampailah ke satu kawasan yang kita panggil sebagai micropyle. Okay, on the other hand, the generative cell yang ada dekat dalam pollen grain tadi akan divide by mitosis to produce two male gamete here. So pollen tube cell akan membentuk pollen tube. Generative cell will divide by mitosis to produce two male gamete. So bila sahaja pollen tube to reach the micropyle, the pollen tube will discharge the two male gametes into the embryo sac. Okay, bila sahaja pollen tube tu sampai dekat micropyle, dia akan lepaskan male gamete tadi masuk ke dalam embryo sac, di mana one male gamete akan fertilize with the egg to form the zygote. So sinilah one male gamete will fertilize with the egg to form the zygote, while the other male gamete dia akan fuse with the two polar nuclei located at the center of the embryo sac to form the triploid nucleus. Okay, this triploid nucleus will give rise to endosperm, where it will supply the nutrient to the seed. After fertilization process berlaku, the zygote tadi, diploid zygote ini akan membentuk embryo. Kita punya ovule yang ada embryo sac tadi akan develop into the seed, and the entire ovary akan develop into a fruit. Okay, so that is the completion of process double fertilization. So the importance of the process of double fertilization is to ensure that our endosperm only develop inside the ovule yang hanya ada zygote sahaja. So double fertilization memastikan endosperm ini only develop in ovule with zygote. Okay, dia hanya akan terbentuk dekat dalam ovule yang hanya ada zygote sahaja. Itu kepentingan proses double fertilization. So now saya akan ringkaskan proses ini based on this diagram. Okay, after the pollen grain landed on the stigma, the tube nucleus will produce the pollen tube. So the generative cell will divide by mitosis to produce two male gametes. And the pollen tube will extend down towards the style into reaching the micropyle. When the pollen tube reach the micropyle, it will cause one synergic cell yang ada dekat dalam kita punya ovule tadi akan degenerate, dia akan hilang, and the pollen tube will discharge the male gamete into the embryo sac, where one male gamete will fuse with the egg forming diploid zygote, and the other male gamete will fuse with the polar nuclei dekat tengah-tengah untuk membentuk triploid endosperm. Okay, so maka proses penghasilan double fertilization itu lengkap. So after fertilization, you must state that the zygote will develop into embryo, the ovule will develop into the seed, and the ovary will develop into the fruit.